All right, so everybody, welcome. Today's agenda, we want to go through the program overview, how you can ultimately maximize your experience, peer groups, and the recruiting roadmap. So here's our quick program overview. Obviously, we wanted to really touch on all three parts of your team. And hold on, I think this is blocking. Jesus. So we really want to touch on all three parts of your teams, not only you as leaders, but we find it important in coaching that an entire organization is aligned around what you're doing. So there's you as the leaders, there's your agents on your team, as well as your staff. And we believe teams that grow together stay together, meaning this is a way to increase your retention. Because if you have everyone enrolled in some form of personal development and going forward, your team feels that you're invested in them as well. We know in many cases from speaking to a lot of you that coaching sometimes comes from the top down, meaning a leader will go through coaching and then they'll share with their team, hey, my coach told me this. Hey, my coach told me this. Well, if they've never met us, they've never connected with us, they don't know our philosophy, and no one's invested in them, it seems more in terms of a dictatorship than personal growth. So we wanted to make sure that there's something for everybody. Now there's the vault. Now, here's the best part about this group. Everyone has agreed to really fully open up and share their business. But to build this out involves mutual collaboration. So we have sent emails out, and myself and David and another one of our team members, Tiff, are going to help out with this. We would like to, and Calissa, between the four of us, we'd like to speak to all of you individually so we can help collect all this information. From there, we're going to organize it, label it, sort it, and upload it to our new platform. We recently just rebuilt our entire platform to make it more user-friendly. And the goal of having this stuff is not just to have a dump of documents that you can have access to. It's an intuitive way to really have access to anything in your business, from pitch books to systems to processes to great marketing pieces. Now, the second part of this is, in collecting this information from you, we'll be able to document what everyone's strengths are, what everyone's looking for, as well as when you need something, instead of like looking around, which is 0 to 1, if you have something specific like, I'd like to know who does geographic farming in new areas that has marketing pieces. Well, if we know Gary, let's make this up, for example, is a master at geographic farming, we can pull that up on our end and just make the connection between the two of you and then tell you guys to connect for a call. That is the value of us all collaborating and putting the upfront work in together. So we'll have an updated list of who's submitted and who hasn't submitted. And our goal is to quickly go through this list as fast as possible, where you guys can share your stuff so that we can have access to it. Can someone mute everybody, please? Thank you. And so the next step in all of this is getting this all together. So if you have not, anything that you feel that you're a master at, systems, structures, processes, compensation models, pitch books, marketing pieces, take the time to put those aside in the file so you have them prepared. We also want everyone to understand, like, what are your core strengths and really what do you want support from the group? That helps us in collaborating and connecting all of you guys together and just making this a lot more of an intuitive process. Now, for the team leaders, we have this call once a month. And this call is a little bit different because it's different in the sense it's a first call and that I'll be doing most of the talking on this one. But in general, Dave and I'll open up for 10, 15 minutes of sharing what a topic is. And then we're going to go around and have each person contribute to the topic. Where at the end of the topic, it's not only what we provided as well as the deliverable to do, it's a compilation of what we know is working best for everyone in the group. And then at the end of it, you'll get a recap with all the notes as well as everyone's key takeaways. And that'll be emailed to you within 48 hours of the session. Now, peer groups, they're going to be monthly group calls. Now, what is a peer group? Now, a peer group is essentially mini pods of masterminds that you guys will be working with each other. The first quarterly topic, and each quarter you'll get a new group. We're going to base the topic, we're going to base the groups based on team sizes and similar makeup of businesses. And these are all from the intake forms that you put in. We're not going to put a 10-person team with like a 3-person team. Like, that doesn't make sense. So the way that the peer groups are going to work is we've actually created a facilitation document that literally walks you through the do's, the don'ts, what the conversation is. We've made materials for pre-work, post-work, action steps. Literally everything's documented. And previously, we would just normally break you up into the groups. You guys would have the conversations. So this year, what we decided to do is David's going to facilitate the first like 10 minutes of the call, and we'll all meet on Zoom. And from there, you guys will be pre-assigned to a Zoom room where you could break out and meet with your group. So this way, David or myself, someone here can pop into each room and just kind of hear what the discussion is, share some pointers. And really this way, each month as we do it, the process becomes a little better and better. And within this document are the do's and the don'ts. So that's something we'll walk through later as well. So benefits from your team members. Let us do the heavy lifting for you. Every single one of your team members should be enrolled in our playbook. After going through this, after going through the coaching program now for like 6 weeks, we found a steady 600 plus agents attending the sessions I'm doing on Mondays and Tuesdays. They're 9 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So this way we can train your team members for you. Each session, we teach a topic, we provide a deliverable. Every session has a clear like one pager of action steps with all the notes and everything. So we're finding the adoption for the work that we're doing really high. As well, we made a coaching implementation tracker. So for you that like to be hands-on with your team and see what they're doing, at the end of every session, they put in their key takeaway, how high of a priority this is to implement, when they want to implement it, what their target completion date is. And there's even a dashboard that all this stuff fills into that you guys can just go and look at. So that's another benefit that you have as well. And that's what we'll be talking about on TIFF on our team. We'll be running that meeting on Monday to kind of walk you through what's available, where the resources are. We encourage you to invite all of your team members and your staff to this meeting, as previously said. So everyone has an idea of what's offered to them. Now your staff. I think to me, this is one of the biggest multipliers, and I don't think anyone's really thinking about for this group. Can someone mute whoever that is, please? Is that your staff members. I always call these the orphans of real estate. If it's your assistant, your director of operations, these are people that generally work in silos and would severely benefit from community and collaboration the same way you are. So once we have everyone's staff members, we want to ask a few similar questions. We want to have a clear understanding of who they are, what their role is, what they feel they're best at, their strengths are, and what they could use support from, so that we could have a similar structure in connecting people. Now, the next step that we want to do is create a distro list for these people so that I can help build community within these groups with David. Meaning if they want something, they can just simply send an email out to the distro list. And what we've seen in the past is people just hop in. You know, Josh Muncie needed help with training a director of ops. Stacy, Butch, and Matt all hopped in as well and provided their team members to help with the training. And that's really the benefit of the group. One of many is that people are just willing to give. And I would say the hardest part in building these groups out, candidly, is finding the right people. You need the right people with the right hearts, the right personalities, and the right energy to make all of this stuff work. Now, maximizing each session. Please stay present during the session and put your cell phone away. I promise you in an hour, nothing will happen. And if something does happen, you know where all the opportunities are in your business. When taking notes, put down the specific takeaways through the context of your business and the action steps. Meaning, if we're talking about recruiting, it's like I need to find the right person. That's like 0 to 1. A more advanced example in this case would be, you know, I really need to identify my recruiting persona to make sure that I find the right people that identify with my value proposition. So please make a list of questions to see if what I'm offering is in alignment with what they're looking for. And don't over focus on all the notes. Every session's recording and we take the notes for you. So at the end of the session, our team will go back, re-watch the recording, take away the notes and the takeaways and put them together for you. So we want to try to make it so that you could really listen, because it's like attention, retention, repetition. So how do we maximize their experience? Block off 1 hour a week at the same time. Like this should be a steady time block for the entire month. You should spend 1 hour in a live session, 1 hour in a peer group, 1 hour networking with other agents, and 1 hour minimum implementation. There is a high value on just being consistent with your time and keeping the promise you made to yourself, because that's really what a time block is. You promise yourself you do something during a certain amount of time. And I always call this the Stacy Froelich rule. Shout out to Stacy. is there has to be something to implement at the end of every session. And if you're not implementing, you're not growing. I know from coaching Stacy for several years, if you don't give her a list or anything to implement, like this, she gets anxious. And the whole point of this program is getting things done. I look at how this gets built out for multiple years. We all need a baseline of our business. And what we want to do is make sure that all of these things are done, they're done correctly, and that so that your business becomes easy. Because once you know where you're going, then it's very easy to find the directions. But if you don't know where you're going, you're gonna end up anywhere. Participate with your team during the playbook. I actually got this idea from Gretchen Coley in Raleigh. She sat her whole team down, and literally there's between her and her staff, there might be like maybe 20 people. And every Monday and Tuesday, they all sit there as a group and they watch the coaching together. She watches it too. They see her implementing it. And I'm going to share on social media today. She sent me a text a couple days ago that said, literally since she's done this, her team has sold one house a day. She's found them to be more productive, to be more collaborative, to be more engaged. It's something when they do recruiting meetings, they see all these people coming to. So it's a pretty interesting concept if you choose to do so. Ensure that your staff is enrolled and attends all the monthly mastermind sessions and connects with other staff members in the group. Your staff members are going to know the challenges in your businesses better than you are. If I talk to Suze or Tiff or anyone on our team or Calissa, they're going to give me a list of stuff that we probably could do better here. And that's their job, right? So allow them to connect with other people, because like what success looks like is someone that works for John Zimmerman could talk to somebody that works for Gary and both their problems get solved and none of them had to spend any time doing it. Now, here's the next part. Fill out the onboarding docs and agent persona questions. And this is where the whole mutual collaboration thing comes in. My request for you guys is really simple. We do write long emails, but we have to provide you a lot of stuff. So please set your filters up or however you need to do it, or talk to your staff members that you actually read through all of our emails and the details in them. This will ensure that we're able to deliver on all the things that we promised you, because we can't collect and build a vault without information from all of you. We can't build an agent persona book without having your information. So these are all things we want to do that'll maximize your experience. So, some people have, some people have not yet. So we want to make sure to be in integrity with our fellow group members. So book one-on-ones with Calissa. We'll send out separate emails from David and I as well, so that we can kind of help fast track this. And ultimately, look, this is a collaboration from our team and yours. All of you collectively here are the most important people that we have at this company. Many of you on this call I've been friends with since I worked at Compass. And for the new people here, I could not be more grateful for my team and I to have the opportunity to make this kind of contribution to your business. You guys have all blocked off a significant amount of time and invested your resources here. So we want to make sure that this is one of the best experiences you've ever had in any program. So I urge you, please read our emails. I know you guys get a lot of emails from Compass, your clients, and everything else. But you guys are putting a lot into this, so I want to make sure that you get just as much, if not more, out of it. Peer groups. The benefits of peer groups are really to create those interpersonal relationships with other group members. It's a new group quarterly, so you'll get to work with everyone at some point. Every month we change a topic. We provide a peer group facilitation guide, a conversation roadmap. And what's a conversation roadmap? It literally walks you through, this is what you guys talk about. This is what a good share is. This is what a bad share is. This is what hijacking is, right? Because look, we all get really excited, but a peer group is not a place to solve your personal business problems. It is a place to collaborate with the minds of each other, where 3 to 4 great businesses can create something better than one of us could do on our own, as well as post-meeting action steps. So from what you do before, during, and after, this will all be outlined for you. And I could show you what the example for the first peer group call is today. And David, do you want to just unmute yourself and talk about how the group facilitation calls will go?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everybody. First of all, welcome. My name is David Severance. I'm the Chief Learning Officer here at CSC. Delighted to see our old friends continuing this journey with us. And for the folks who are new, very excited to have you with us. You are welcome here. We're excited to have you join us. So the facilitations is basically going to be, the peer group calls are an opportunity for all of you to make deeper connections with everyone while having really substantive conversations about a whole number of topics throughout the year. And so we'll have each call will be 1 hour scheduled at the same time as we're doing this call, of course. And everyone will get on the call to start with, the same Zoom link. And I'll kind of give everybody the topic for the day. I'll talk through a couple of items, why we're talking about that particular topic for the day. At the beginning of the year, we'll kind of go through some of these things like that Chirag was talking about regarding, good conversations and that kind of thing. But as we get into the calls, each week we'll have a topic. We'll kind of have a context for that topic. I'll lay that all out in the first 10 minutes of the call or so. And then we'll break you up into Zoom rooms where you'll be with your peer group, and you'll have the conversation guide in front of you to talk through those particular items for that day. And then the worksheets and other follow-up items and all that stuff will follow. So it's a highly targeted and focused conversation designed to give you the opportunity to really dig into important issues, do it with other people who want to solve these kinds of problems for their businesses in their own way, and have this kind of learning opportunity that you can't get anywhere else in any similar way.
Thank you, David. So our first peer group is going to be built around value propositions. And, it's really aligning and being very clear on what you offer. I always say there's perceived value and actualized value. Perceived value is what we know that we offer someone, right? Whether it could be training, leads, or staff, support, whatever it is. Actualized value is the value that another person understands that they're getting for you. So an example of this, we have a perceived value of all the stuff that we're offering you guys in Mastermind. But if you guys don't use it, you don't actualize it, it's not what you were looking for, then there's always a disconnect. So the first part in this first quarter we really want to dive deep into is, one, we're going to start a recruiting roadmap today. Two, it's building a world-class value proposition. And three, understanding how to recruit people to your value proposition, right? Because look, if you find people that see value in what you want, then they're going to stay and they're not going to be like culture issues. But if someone's looking for something completely different, then there's not going to be any kind of alignment there. And turnover is a very costly thing. It's not just the person coming and going, it's the amount of time, the stress, the drama, and everything else. So if what you're offering is support and training, and all the person wants are leads, it's not the right fit. And oftentimes we'll get in front of people and, people see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear. Oh, this person's great. But really, this has to be a very precise thing where the two things align. And normally what I find in all the coaching calls I do, these things are generally built in silos, right? So we're going to want to spend the first quarter in our peer group call going through piece by piece by piece, where at the end of the quarter, we will fully design out a great value proposition where it becomes a plug and play template, where you can bring it to a designer and stuff, and you can just pop your stuff in. If you want to change the copy, change the copy. But we'll take and understand like areas like support, leads, systems, branding, what Compass has to offer, and put it together. So the recruiting roadmap. If you don't know where you're going, you can end up anywhere. If you don't know who you're looking for, you can end up with anyone, right? How many people, I'm just going to stop my screen share for a second here. How many people here have ended up with the wrong person on their team at some point? Pretty much all of us, right? How many people are 100% clear on who the right team member is for them? Hit yes or no in the chat. Yeah, Stacy, I think you're one of the few people that I could actually agree with, because you've gone through God knows how much to get here. But it's still tempting, right? And like, look, I would encourage, if anyone like thinks about recruiting, Stacy has it really dialed in where she knows exactly who the people are, what she offers, and everything else. And even if there have been some really good people that have come her way where she's actually said no. Rob Lehman sent her someone, and like on paper, this woman looked amazing, but it wouldn't have been a good fit. And like, look, recruiting is the lifeline of any business at some point, right? And if you guys aren't crystal clear in who and what you're looking for, the opportunities are just going to go by, right? Or you're going to, more importantly, end up with the wrong people, which is what you don't want. So when we go through this, I'm going to walk you through an entire set of questions and things to really look at. When you get into recruiting, there's recruiting agents at Compass and non-Compass agents, right? So when you're building out your value proposition or recruiting, those are essentially two different groups of people, right? Because someone coming out of Compass will be interested in the stuff at Compass. Someone at Compass is like, okay, I have this stuff, now what? So it's really understanding who these people are and what the conversations are. We found this going through the other group where the majority of people said no. And when people say yes, I always have like an inkling to really ask them even more questions because, are you clear about who they are, what their values are, what they're looking for, like really dialed in who the person is? Because the whole benefit of doing this is creating a filter. And the whole point of having a filter is to keep the wrong stuff out to make sure the right stuff gets in. Right? It's like squeezing orange juice. Some people like pulp, some people don't like pulp, right? So you'll put a little filter on there to keep the pulp out. Right? So it can become that simple for recruiting. So let's go through this and we'll share the worksheet with you that we've built as well. So really developing your agent persona. There are two types of agents. They're obviously Compass agents and they're non-Compass agents. So the first part is what are their expectations, right? So if they're working on a team currently, you want to know what are they looking for really on their next team that they're not getting where they are. And this really is their trigger point. And the important part about this is that you want to understand why they're leaving. Because, I'm not getting this. Well, then the next question is, what are they getting from that team? Right? So this is a really quick way to filter people out that literally, I call them like team parasites. These people go team to team to team, literally trying to suck as much out of it as they can. And then they go to the next person, right? What are their expectations of what the team will provide them? Being very clear, because when you see what their expectations are, then you look at what your value proposition is, you can literally put this in a 2-column spreadsheet and punch the two things next to each other. And within seconds now be able to tell, not hours, days, weeks, months, a year, if that's going to work. And you want to lastly understand what are their expectations of you as the team leader and their expectations for mentorship. How much time do they really require from you? I think for many of us sitting here, you bring a team member on and you think now the team member has this assumption that you work for them, that you're on demand, that you need to call, you need to answer every single one of their questions, you need to micromanage every deal because you're collecting a split from them. I've heard this over and over and over again. Their background, what companies do they work for? How many years do they have in the business? How many deals have they done? Will you hire newly licensed agents? If you want to hire newly licensed agents, you better have a very robust training onboarding platform and have patience and time to give into these people. And ideally, what is the ideal amount of experience you want a seasoned agent to have? You go through agents, it's like 1 to 3, 3 to 5, and you can really get to like that 5 to 10, then there's a 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and the 20 plus. Which bucket of those people do you really want? All of these people are going to come with different habits and different mindsets around things, right? The more seasoned agents could be a lot harder to adapt change and technology. So again, this goes back to your value proposition, right? And if you look at a background of a team, some teams are diverse, but if you look at teams that really move quickly together, you see that they have like really an ideal agent persona. They have the teams are aligned with similar backgrounds, expectations, and this is how they're able to move quickly. And as leaders, you can get them to move quickly because everyone's aligned in a similar space. So you really want to look at what your model is. Like Scott, Mike, you guys out there have, what they have is what's similar to like a brokerage. So they're not necessarily going to look at their current group for this, but going forward, they could start thinking about this and understand out of each different experience bucket, there's different expectations you should have of them and start becoming clear on what their expectations are of you. I always say that we're in the pattern recognition business. And once we start training our brains to look for patterns, everything gets easier. You'll find those 1 to 3 years agents ask for one thing, 3 to 5, another thing, 5 to 10, all the way up. And this is how you can start getting more intuitive with recruiting. And look, if you see great people and you see over time there's an opportunity to grow, you might choose to change your value proposition to attack a couple different buckets. Let's analyze them. What are their core strengths? What are their core weaknesses? This is something you want to be very clear about. When you look at strengths, this is a contribution to your team. When you look at weaknesses, this is something if you can deal with, right? It's like if someone asked you, are you ready? I had a friend one time ask me, when should I know if I'm like, it's the right time? Like I had two young kids. So when's the right time to start a family? I was like, when you're ready to live your life for somebody else, because when you have a newborn, you better be ready to wake up in the middle of the night and go with a whole bunch of things that come along with it. But look, when you take on new team members, their weaknesses essentially become your problem, right? So you want to be very clear into like what type of challenges you are willing to take, and then see how these people self-identify their weaknesses as well, right? So if you look at this and you're building this out, it's like two streams of consciousness, right? It's like, what do you want and what do these people have? What are they excited about what your team will provide them, right? So this is where you're able to really pinpoint out of all the stuff you guys all have to offer what they really want, right? Because look, I would say when you go into a pitch, if you have like 30 seconds to ask someone a question, it's like, what's most important to you about an agent and company that represents you in the sale of this home? Well, the same thing with an agent that you're recruiting. What are you most excited about that you and your team will provide them, right? Like if those things align, you know where to focus on. If not, you're just going to go through all of this stuff. And ultimately, what will you provide them? This is where clarity and context come in, right? You need clarity in what you're going to provide them, and you need to give them context on how they can use it. Because again, if they don't use it, there's no actualized value. Now, what are their views on personal development and growth, right? What are their views on coaching and personal development is everything. We're in a, how would I say this? We're in a business, you eat what you kill. And a person that doesn't want to learn how to be a better hunter is very concerning to me in doing this. And if you have people that don't want to have any kind of coaching program, I'm not saying that we're the one size fits shoe for everybody, or they don't want to engage in personal development, and this is something that you guys are heavily invested in, I personally would tell you not to hire the people, right? Because at some point, their growth is just going to stop because they're limited to their own thoughts. And we also find on a similar note that people that don't do well with personal development also can't do well with feedback, right? So going through and asking people how they handle feedback and do what's called situational hiring. You'll want to put people through some of the similar situations with feedback and see how they respond to it prior to hiring them. We encourage you to hire people that have a growth mindset, or as Angela Swift always says, I'm all in, right? So if they're really all in on themselves and their career, they're going to want to get any kind of support that they can that makes sense. And they should be getting the same support you are. And as I always say to people and the team agents, if your team leader has time to do this, so do you, right? Time management is a choice, because I can go on anyone's screen time on their phone. I guarantee you can find 30 minutes a day. Easy. Because the way that these social platforms have been engineered, they're meant to suck hours out of our life every day. Culture. What are their values? And what are 3 scenarios you can create to see how they'll respond based on their core values and type of culture carrier you'd like for the team? David, you want to add on to this one about really going through those situations and culture?
Yeah, sure. So, when you think about what a culture of an organization is it's a collection of mindset or ideas or perspectives together with a set of processes, practices, responses. All the things that happen within the business are some kind of a reflection of the culture. And at the core of a culture is values, among some other things, which we'll talk about as we go further through this process. But values are the things that we hold as important to us, the things that we believe are important for us to hold on to in order for the business to succeed. It might be service, it might be responsiveness, it might be innovation, it might be fun, it could be any number of things. And as a team, what is it that unites us? You say we've got 6 people on our team, we have a couple agents, a couple of staff, a team leader. What is it that binds us other than our desire to make the business successful? I always say that a team is a group of people that share a common goal and have a shared approach to business success. And within that shared approach are the concepts of values. And so talking with someone about what they value, how they might respond to a certain situation, gives you an insight into what they think is important. And if it's too far off from what you think is important, that's a huge red flag that despite whatever else might be attractive about them, they might not be a fit for your team.
So we say that collaboration is something that's really important. So a scenario would be something like this. You're offered a listing in an area that you don't service. Your business isn't doing as great as you'd like it to be. Do you A, keep the deal for yourself and figure it out? Or B, you have a team member who lives in that same community that's an expert and you collaborate to deal with them. Based on that, each person will have their own view on it, right? But you're going to want these scenarios mapped out so you could see what somebody will do. Because I know some of you personally here would say, I can't believe someone would service a listing in an area they don't know when they would just collaborate with a team member. It would drive you crazy because in the end, all of these people carry your name, your brand that's taken you a long time to develop. Now, financial expectations. What's their current price structure? What do they expect for commission, right? Do you want agents? I always ask people this question. At the end of the year, are you more focused on the split that you have on the team or what you net at the end of the year? We find that people either want one of two, and ideally you can't have both, right? And that'll tell you right away what's most important. People that want splits, like, no, I care about my split. Like, I don't care about the end of the year, but so what they're telling you essentially, if you're listening, is they have a scarcity mindset and they want to get the most out of every transaction. Anyone that's joining a team is coming for culture, collaboration, resources, your brand, what you offer. And it shouldn't matter how much you make on each deal in relative context to what you can net. I'm not saying you can pay these people at 20% a deal, but I'm just saying in general, people that the whole thing is focused on splits, just remember, people that come for money, leave for money. It is a very common trait. Production minimums. You should have the dignity and respect for yourself to have a production minimum for every agent on your team. And if they don't meet it, they should leave. Your time culminated, like over the course of the year with a bad agent, is significant. If you could sell one more house easier than it's going to be to have that agent make the same amount of money, just go sell another house. It's much easier. So there should be a production minimum and a per agent productivity. How much money do you net off of each agent throughout the year? This is how we can actually get into accurate financial forecasting. When people are like, I want to add 4 team members, great. Like, what's their production minimum and what's their agent net? Have you guys factored in the cost of running your team, your overhead, the value of your time? It's not a true net. It's sometimes you can look at all this money that they're making off the agents, and then we start subtracting all this stuff out. It's such a small pie. We want to make sure that this is profitable for you. Support. What type of support do they want from the team, and what do you really offer? Right? So it's being very clear on what this is, and it also should be clear what their expectations are of your staff. I can say this for Fran here. Her director of operations, Michelle, is world class, but Michelle wants to work for Fran, right? And it's very clear. And some of her team members think Michelle works for her, and like that can cause like a very different dynamic that sometimes people might not like. So it's aligning 2 ways. It's one, aligning with what your team members want versus what your staff also wants to offer. They need to be very clear as to what your expectations are and how you work for them. And you need to protect your staff in the sense to make sure that they don't your staff is not overly asked and boundaries are crossed from your team agents. So being clear in the beginning is most important. There's a saying, how it starts is how it goes. And the gist of it is how it starts, it's only going to go that way, if not get worse. So if these people have bad habits from the beginning, it's just going to continue to go downhill. Commission splits. This is pretty simple, but I think most of you know this, but I had to get this out there. Always pay based off your net, not your gross. That's after your compass split, resource fee, or anything else. If you're paying off the gross, by the end of the year, you will lose money on these agents. Types of leads. We encourage everyone to create a lead generation opt-in program. Like, what's an opt-in program? Well, an opt-in program, you can't tell an independent contractor what to do, but you can ask them to opt into a program. You need to be very specific when you give somebody a lead. What are their expectations when they're taking a lead? So you need to make sure that you align based on what those expectations are. And from there, the next step is, say you're giving them online leads. Well, there's the initial phone call, there's pre-qualifying, there's the buyer consultation, there's taking them out, there's showing property, there's writing offers, right? Those are all different sub-segments of converting a lead. Now, if you've identified what their expectations are and broken down the parts of the process, then you know how to connect with your team members to help them understand where they need help and then provide the specific training around it. And this is the way that you can get them to be more productive and more profitable faster. So we have our second retreat. It's going to be in the fall. It's going to be 3 days. And so we will have our retreat for this group in January to keep in theme with what this all is. Sorry for the hard transition here. I want to go through your recruiting conversations before I get into the retreat stuff. Are we all good with recruiting? Right? Let me just share this worksheet that we have here, just so you guys all could see what it is. Oops. So we built this out literally so it's just a plug and play document where you guys can go through it and you guys could start filling this out. Add your scenarios, their financial expectations, what is their production minimum, ideal support, commission split, and this part. If it's your own personal referral, if they're a supporting agent on a listing, a showing agent on a listing, a team lead, the agent does the entire process, right? What are your splits on this? And you want to be very clear when you meet somebody that these are the type of leads that are offered, this is what's required of them, and ultimately this is what the split is. So this is what like plug and play really looks like. And then we're going to be taking this into the peer group conversations. And here's our original facilitation guide. It's what are the purposes, having high level conversations before the meeting, having quality conversations during the meeting, right? We are building a value proposition. All the conversations should align around only that topic. You know, we want to make sure that people don't hijack the conversation. I really shouldn't be talking so much, but let me say one more or two things. Over personalization. One of the problems I'm having right now in my business is blank. Asking questions unrelated. Oh, thank you. So here's the follow-up. Here is the format. Here is the topic. Here is the purpose. Here is the pre-work we'll send out in advance. And here's the conversation flow, right? And David will walk you through all of this, right? So each member will share what they found most helpful. Each person take notes on what the other people offer they'd like to implement. The goal of the session is to learn what's working now for your colleagues, and then fill out the gap analysis and action steps prior to the next session. So we'll give you a document at the end of the meeting, which you should look at, which really identify, here are the gaps I've learned about my value proposition, and here are the action steps I need to take. So at the end of every one of these sessions, everything is planned and purposeful. You know, so the first month will really be about going through what your value proposition is and identifying. The second part is going through understanding how to align it with recruiting. And the third part is how do we make it so it's like presentable, right? And that's the part where we're going to build this all together. So we'll be getting lots of feedback. There'll be lots of mutual collaboration around it. How do you make the shift off of people that are currently paying off gross? Aaron, I will connect with you on that offline. That's a broader conversation. But literally, we have to put the genie back in the bottle. So, all right. So are we all good with the recruiting roadmap here? All right, cool. Listen, I just want to preface this by saying we had so much stuff to get through today. Like, we would like it that we can all like connect and chat more and make these conversations more collaborative. We're going to send out action steps, which is just really what you want to do before next month's session is fill out the recruiting worksheet, complete all the onboarding docs, make sure you're prepared for the value proposition, try to reach out and connect with your peer groups if possible, come attend the platform training. Everyone will get a calendar invite they can share out with their team. Ensure your staff is enrolled in the mastermind and start to get all your best marketing pieces, checklists, onboarding processes, any system structures, processes, comp plan if it's profitable for the vault. If you have any questions and you're sitting here saying, okay, what do I have in my business to share? and you're stuck, just send me an email, and either myself, David, or if you'd like to speak with me, I will happily get on the phone with you and start walking you through and extracting this information out of your brain. You guys are all here because someone either nominated you to be here, you chose to be here, or we interviewed you in the beginning, or I've worked with you individually in the past. So everyone has something to offer. We want to make sure that we're able to do it and that you feel confident about it, right? That's really important. Excuse me. All right, so now that we've gone through all of this, this is the fun part. So everyone just introduce yourself, where you're from, and one fun fact about you. Now, this is the best part. We can see who's a great active listener. So I would say it's like, my name is Chirag Shah. I'm from Westport, Connecticut. My fun fact is I like to take, for the last 2 years, I'm obsessively into cold showers, cold plunges, saunas. Like that's my fun fact, right? It can be a random fun fact, but it's a very succinct sentence, right? And so we find in doing this, I always can tell who's listening, who's not listening, because people can go on like these huge tangents. So we want to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. So Aaron, I'm going to go in order of my screen. You can go first.
Hey guys, definitely listening. Aaron Buckbinder from Boca Raton, Florida. A good fun fact about me, as many of you guys know, that I might have been in medical school prior to then to real estate, and it's been great because it was a good transition and happiest thing in the world.
Welcome, Aaron. Gary, one of our new group members. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Gary Dolch, we're in Austin, Texas. My wife, Michelle, and I are a team. We have a few teammates under us. Our fun fact about us is we actually met in a real estate class, of all things, a continuing education class. So that's what we got.
Love and real estate. I like it. Tracy Anderson, welcome. You got to mute yourself.
There we go. Hi, Tracy Anderson. I'm from Hinsdale, Illinois, which is outside the city of Chicago. And my fun fact would be I was the first agent in Hinsdale to move over to Compass, and everybody thought I was nuts, and now we're second in the market.
I like that. David?
Hey, everybody. David Severance here. I'm in Stamford, Connecticut, not too far away from Chirag. My fun fact is I speak Japanese and have worked with Japanese clients for 30 years.
That's kind of cute. You two, Alice and Gingy, kind of just both looked at each other at the same time. All right, you two are up.
Okay, we don't speak Japanese.
Or any languages.
English. I'm Allison Ziefert. Our office is here in Short Hills, New Jersey. A fun fact about me is I love to cook, and I have a giant 35-pound dachshund.
And I'm Ginge Calhoun. I work with Alison. I'm originally from England, but now live in glorious New Jersey. And a fun fact about me, I once spent the summer working in the gift shop at the Statue of Liberty.
That's a good one.
Ooh, that's a good one. Brad, my man, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Brad Poole, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Fun fact about me is I'm a big wake surfer.
Nice. Stacy coming in from the cold streets of New York.
Yes, sorry, I am walking. I'm Stacy Froelich, from New York City. And I guess my fun fact is I hope to never have to recruit again. And maybe that I'm a foodie, but other than that, I never want to recruit again.
Fran.
Hi, everyone. I'm Fran Mazer. I'm from Long Island. I guess my fun fact is I'm still looking for a hobby. So for those of you that know me, I've been on a 2-year mission. So if anyone has ideas, hit me up.
Your Florida renovation, isn't that a hobby right now?
Well, that's really a headache. I don't know about a hobby.
That might have been the best fun fact of all time. That was
Did
good.
you like that?
I love that. So we'll compile a list of hobbies and we'll start sending them to your way.
Thank you.
I was told her she should just start like this live social media feed of like trying to find a hobby. I think people would find it very engaging.
No
Margot,
one wants to believe that work is my hobby, so I don't know.
Is this supposed to be like a
We love
couple
what you
fun
do.
fact? I don't really know, but I'll just do mine so that Kevin has to do his own. My fun fact is that I appear in the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. So have fun finding me.
hold on. You have to say who you are and where you're from.
Oh,
Let's
right.
get
I'm
right to the
sorry.
good stuff.
Margot Pellegrin, Philadelphia, and Kevin Pellegrin, I guess I'll introduce him, is my husband and runs the operations on our team.
All right, so Kevin, you should go next.
My fun fact is that I'm known as Margot's husband. No, my fun fact is actually that I'm not that fun. And growing up, I never listened to the FM side of the radio, only AM only. So
Are
I'm
you
a
serious?
hoot at parties, everyone.
I don't know. After a trip to Nashville, I tend to dispute that fact. Kevin just needs a couple drinks and then he's actually a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Tracy. Oh, you got to unmute.
There we go.
There you go.
Sorry. Tracy Clinton from Manhasset, Long Island. Fun fact is I'm a huge hockey fan and a huge New York Islander fan.
My fun fact for Tracy is she has the most epic like sunset view from her house that I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing.
Not today, but some days, yes.
Some days. Megan. And you'll have to introduce Jillian since she's not here now.
I will. Am I off mute?
Yep.
Okay. I'm Megan Kottman from Boston. I am the team leader of Kottman Adler. My business partner is Jillian Adler. She was on a minute ago, but she has very little patience, so she may have popped off a little early. She tends to run around a lot. My fun fact, I guess, is my first job ever was a quarter girl at an arcade. And then I became a corporate lawyer, and then somehow I became a residential real estate broker, which by far makes me the most money and gives me the most free time of any of those three jobs. But if I had to pick second, I'd go back to quarter girl.
All right,
So
now
I
do
love
Jill-
video
introduce
games.
Jillian.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jillian Adler is my partner. We're Kottman Adler. I think she's still here. We've been together almost 12 years now.
What's Jillian's fun fact?
Oh God. There are a lot of them. She might be maybe one of the funnest people in this group, but typically she has all that fun when I'm not around. But I do freak out when she posts on Instagram, so, you know, but she's a lot of fun.
Great. Suze.
Hi, everyone. I'm Suze. I'm here at Chirag Shah Coaching. My fun fact is I have dual citizenship with US and Sweden, and just discovered that my husband can also get triple citizenship with Mexico and Spain. So we're citizens of the world. That's my fun fact.
Nice. Look, it's a lot of information we just went through for the call. So thank you all for being present and joining us on this journey. Now, remember, a couple things that I want to just highlight before we all. The group is built on mutual collaboration. Get to know other people in the group, right? So look, for everyone that's in the group from last year, please reach out to Gary, Tracy, Brad, and take the opportunity to get to know them. They're all great people, right? And they all have this hunger like we do to just grow, right? And they're a lot of fun. And, you know, to Megan's fact is April 20th, we are going to mark your calendars. We'll put this in the email, but I have most of you guys here. We're going to have a massive grand opening party in our new office space. So Robert's coming, a lot of leadership are coming. We'll have agents from around the country and have a very interesting Rolodex of business contacts, which would be really good networking for you. So we're going to throw like an epic party. And when we do have a retreat, I have this large video wall. So for Megan Kottman, maybe we'll put some video games on there and people can have fun during the break. So, look, we want to keep this fun. We want to keep this engaging, and we want to just make things simple for you, right? Like that is really our goal. So please, please, please read our emails. You'll never hear me ask for anything as much as that, because a lot of the information that you guys want is in there, right? And look, at any point, if you guys need anything or you have a challenge about, hey, Chirag, I went through this call and like, this is not really clicking for me, reach out to our team. We're here to support you. There are 8 full-time employees at this company, 5 of whom used to work at Compass, right? So it's like, we have this great support team that allows us to really be able to help you grow in a different way than we ever did before. So Sue's worked in marketing. So like when it comes to designing all this stuff and everything else, she's a wizard. So we're going to put this stuff together, and she was able to help Allison find a freelance designer. I believe it was last week. So look, the group is just getting started. We'll be sending out a recap of this call. We'll be sending out within 48 hours, the recruiting worksheet, as well as the peer group format. We're working on assigning peer groups as we need to finish getting everyone's new intake forms. So we'll be sending out a recap email that is going to have a lot of information and stuff for you to do. And look, like I said in the beginning, how it starts is how it goes. The more you can get us, the more we can do for you. So if you didn't get either, Fran, like let's check your email, right? And there has to be a way, Suze, can we look at how they could filter out our emails so they're like prioritized or something like that in Gmail, and that we could make a video and send it to everybody?
Yeah, we
I
can
think
do
the
that.
majority of people are Gmail users.
Also, Gmail is very intuitive. So if you mark an email from us as important and star it, it'll automatically do that for our emails going forward. So teach it what to do and it'll do that for you, but happy to send out a demo of how to filter.
Yeah, so send out a demo of like what to do when an email comes in, and we'll just send it out to everybody. Because look, I know Compass sends a lot of emails, plus all the other things that you get. And I understand we're not the only one. So we want to make sure that you're getting this information. And again, like, look, I always reiterate this over and over again. There's nothing perfect in life. Everything is an evolution of growth. One of the greatest gifts that you guys have given us and can continue to give us is feedback. We want to make this better for you. Like these programs aren't built in silos. Like one of the things that makes our programs unique is they're fluid, right? Markets change, things happen, right? Sometimes if something happens in the market, we might have to pivot our programming or literally change the context of what we're doing to fit the current market. So be engaged, also trust the process, right? Like you might look at this curriculum and might be like, I don't need any of this stuff. But at some point you do, whether you want to recruit ever again or you don't, you want to have this stuff come by, because if you have literally the perfect person that could come in and add something that you're looking for in your business, you don't want to miss that opportunity, but you also don't want to have that hesitation of, is this really right? Because when the ship is moving smoothly, you're very hesitant to add anything that might slow it down. But remember what I said in the beginning of the call, there's momentum and multipliers. You guys all have momentum. Now you need to find the people, places, and things that will be multipliers on your existing efforts. Or if not, you're just going to be rowing and rowing and rowing. And you can just add like a little motor and get there a little bit faster. So as always, we're here to support you. With love in my heart, I love you all. And I cannot wait to see you guys all soon. And I hope you all can make it in April. We're working on hotel blocks. For those of you that are local, I still encourage you to stay. There's probably going to be a lot of alcohol there and food. It's probably going to go for a while. So I'd encourage you to get a hotel room. I know Angela is always the first one that says if a bunch of us get together, we'll send out the dates, but I encourage you all to take this time maybe to meet with each other in the city, and we could help set that all up in terms of dates and times and whatnot. Can't plan the event, but we could give you the dates and just some suggestions on local places to go. April 20th is the grand opening party. Stacy, maybe in New York City, we could get a group of people together and, some of these people come in. We'll have agents coming in, I think, as of now, around from like 15, 20 different states people are going to travel to. So it should be a really good, entertaining. We have Robert booked already, and we're all really excited. And at some point, we're going to start having informal get-togethers in our office So I will invite you guys just to come by, have some coffee, hang out, maybe have a drink in an evening. Most of us are fairly close, or as John Zimmerman says, hey man, you come to Fort Worth anytime you want. It's just a 3-hour flight. It's a hop, skip, and a jump away. So I look forward to meeting the ones that have not met. And again, if you need anything, let us know. And we'll see you guys all soon. Bye, everybody.